Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome very much to this Friday, the 4th of November 2022, and it is 22 degrees and sunny in Brisbane. Still, the temperature is a little bit less than what it should be around this time of the year, even though it says 22 degrees, but the chill factor's there in the wind. So, if you're walking about, if you're going for your daily walks and things on the river, etc., you'll still find that still chilly. People who had already said their jackets have put the jackets back on for the last couple of days. Well, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful to have your company on this Friday. Yes, we're looking over to a great weekend. Once again, in Brisbane, it is going to be a very, very eventful weekend. But first of all, let's take a quick look at, we don't have the full video or report, but just the last night's launch of the Indian exhibition, Incredible India, put together by Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian radio team. It was a very well attended launch and so many people came out to vote. So in this photo you can see the Brisbane Indian Times team with the councillors. So you can see Councillor Sandy Landis from the Breckenridge ward, then Councillor Kim Marks, and of course Councillor Stephen Huang. So all the councillors coming in to support. Then you have Madhu Khanna, the featured artist. Then we have RJ Savi, whom you all know from our Music Junction, and of course Tapas Panel, who runs our Bengali program on the radio. So wonderful to see so many people come up yesterday for that launch and to get that good community support for this display is just amazing. So the display will be there for the rest of the month. Please, if you go passing by the Sunnybank Plaza, do pop into the multicultural gallery there and visit the Incredible India exhibition put together by Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian Radios, featuring artist Madhu Khanna. Brisbane Australian Indian Radio's very popular host of Baatein Madhu ke Saath. Well, right now, what is Albany government planning on the gas market? Is it going to intervene on the market?
Any responsible government facing these kinds of price hikes for electricity and for gas needs to consider a broader suite of regulatory interventions.
This is not a shortage of supply problem. This is a glut of greed problem.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine has pushed gas prices higher around the globe. Despite being one of the world's biggest gas exporters, Australia hasn't been spared. After last week's budget revealed even further alarming increases are on the way, the Albanese government is now considering a big step, intervening in the market. The only effective tool currently at its disposal was put in place 5 years ago.
A major domestic shortage that's starving the east coast of energy.
Facing a major gas shortage in 2017, Malcolm Turnbull struck a deal with the three big East Coast exporters.
Right, well, today we've secured more gas for Australian families.
The LNG operators agreed to make more gas available on the Australian market.
There's been very, very little transparency, and we're going to bring that to an end.
The agreement avoided the then Prime Minister having to pull the so-called gas trigger, a new power to directly control exports.
Gas is key to the COVID-19 recovery.
The agreement was renewed and extended by the Morrison government last year. The threat to pull the trigger was enough, we were told, to ensure adequate supply.
Now, that hasn't been necessary in the past. I don't expect it to be necessary in the future, but it is a tool which is there.
Just over a month ago, and with the global gas crisis in full swing, the new Labour Resources Minister struck yet another supply deal with the LNG giants.
With this new heads of agreement and the commitments made in writing to me, I do not need to pull the trigger on the Australian domestic gas supply mechanism.
It ensured plenty of supply, but did nothing to bring down prices, which are only set to keep rising. Now the industry waits to find out whether the Albanese government will go for serious intervention and put in place a price cap. Samantha McCulloch is the Chief Executive of the Australian Petroleum Production and Exploration Association, which represents gas producers. Samantha McCulloch, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, David.
So the industry minister says the problem with gas prices right now is a glut of greed by the gas companies. Is he right?
David, what we're seeing is high energy prices across the globe. This is the result of a global energy crisis triggered by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It's affecting all energy sources and it's affecting all countries.
But can you explain to me why that should push up the price of Australian gas in Australia?
We're seeing very strong demand for gas domestically. This is being driven by a critical role that gas is playing, particularly in the electricity sector. Gas is increasingly being called on to fill the void when renewables are not available and when coal-fired generation is not available. We saw this over the recent winter when gas demand increased 55% in May versus May last year. It's increasing demand for gas that's driving up these prices, as well as, of course, international pressures. And the key to driving down these prices and putting sustained downward pressure on gas prices is increasing supply. That's what the industry is seeking to do, but we need a clear runway for more investment to boost supply and put downward pressure on prices.
Well, OK, but you did say a few days ago yourself the domestic market is well supplied. And the agreement that was struck only just over a month ago between the LNG exporters and the government was about boosting supply, so even more supply. Supply doesn't appear to be the problem, does it?
The gas industry is committed to supplying the domestic market, and the domestic market has been well supplied. The heads of agreement that was struck between the 3 East Coast LNG exporters and the federal government committed to ensuring adequate supply for the domestic market.
So what's the problem with supply? Is price the problem?
The problem that we're seeing is the increasing demand for gas is predominantly in the southern states for this growing role for gas-fired power generation. Yet we're not seeing the investment in supply in those states.
But you just said we're well supplied.
The cheapest gas is the gas that's close to the use. So we need to be building more supply where it's needed, and that predominantly is in Victoria, in New South Wales, who are major gas-using states.
It's not going to fix the immediate problem. The immediate need is to bring down prices. So just coming back to what you were saying, you're saying the price increase, the doubling and more of gas prices in Australia is driven by the higher demand for its use in electricity.
It's driven by a number of factors, including those international pressures. But the key is, and this has been acknowledged by the Prime Minister, it's been acknowledged by the opposition leader, the CEO of the Business Council of Australia, bringing on new supply is the key to putting sustained downward pressure on prices.
Well, OK, let's talk about that.
So looking at that debate there, which is sort of going nowhere, of course, he's got a very bullet point that why would overseas demand put prices up here for the domestic supply? Well, of course, the domestic uptake or the demand is a little bit more as well, but is it the supply or is it the pricing issue as has been mentioned? All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on and let's go to Canberra, where Canberra's population is expected to grow to 500,000.
The capital has recorded 32 consecutive years of economic growth and population growth to match.
We are now likely to reach 500,000 people in fiscal year 27-28.
In his State of the Territory address, the Chief Minister spruiked the new Territory Plan and district strategies.
What we're seeking to do is to deliver at least another 30,000 dwellings in the ACT over the next 5 years.
And among the options in the new plans, a proposal by Thoroughbred Park to boost their income by constructing housing on part of the site around the racetrack. Another option put forward would see the track disappear altogether, replaced with a grid of streets for housing, retail and commercial space, and a renaturalised Sullivan's Creek. It's an option the Canberra Racing Club didn't expect.
It felt akin to being at an AGM and having a hostile takeover bid launched for your company. It was a complete shock.
The government insists that option would only go ahead with the blessing of the club.
I imagine they're going to want to settle on that site. I hope they will also accommodate the needs of the Harness Racing Club.
The opposition argues losing the racecourse would have an economic impact.
You wouldn't have a plan for this area with or without the race club unless you were intending to get rid of it.
A number of horse trainers, like Nick Olive, have recently left the ACT.
I had no choice but to move because of the rising cost of workers' compensation and also not being in the highways and so forth. It sort of really impacted my business.
He fears there are warning signs the days of the industry in the capital are numbered.
I know the club's working very hard, and with this strategic plan and the development they're trying to do, look, I think that's going to be the saviour.
The club intends to push ahead with its proposal to build around the track. Harry Frost, ABC News, Canberra.
So there you are, Canberra. Right from Canberra, let's go to Victoria, where Victorians will be paying less for the trains and buses running into regional area. That is a good news.
Hitting the road on the hunt for votes.
Zero accountability.
Zero. The Liberals replacing the usual campaign bus with a 1970s ambulance.
It's actually an offence under the Ambulance Service Act to operate a vehicle and call it an ambulance.
I will not be lectured by the union movement.
While Labor stuck with tradition, the Premier Ballarat bound with his wife at his side and a promise of cheaper V-line fares for all.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
A re-elected Labor government will spend $1 billion to order more Velocity trains, add extra weekend V-line services and cap all V-line fares, regardless of destination, at $9.20 or $4.60 concession.
That is the same as what people pay in Melbourne. So it's about equity and fairness.
Regardless of who wins the election, fares on these trains will be cheaper, as the opposition has already promised to halve V-line fares. The opposition leader today was under significant pressure over how much his plan will cost.
We're not promising the world, we're promising solutions that are real.
That includes a 5-year freeze on household water service charges.
$100 a year less than what they normally would be rising.
But other rising costs stole the focus. After Transport Department costings showed the Coalition's plan for $2 metro transport fares would cost $900 million more than he claimed.
I don't trust the figures put forward by the government. Why would you?
The opposition are yet to publicly release the independent costing of the $2 fares, but says it will.
Do you think that it should be made public?
Oh, pick your own analysis.
Do you think that it should be made public?
Julia, pick your own analysis.
No,
Julia,
where the figures come from.
I'm not sure this is a gotcha moment.
A tense start to a testing time. Richard William, ABC News.
And a testing time as well. It is always tricky with those kind of questions and well handled there, I must say. Well, right now let's go to Perth. But the family of the missing Perth woman are confident that she was married.
It's a mystery that's gripped Perth for more than 30 years. The disappearance of Julie Cutler, who vanished after leaving a work function at the Parmelia Hilton in 1988. Her car was found floating in the sea off Cottesloe Beach in the days after she disappeared. A year later, some of Ms. Cutler's clothing was found at a kebab shop. Despite multiple investigations, a generous reward, and desperate pleas from family members, she's never been found.
Anybody who's got anything new, please come out and tell us. It has been a strain on my family, so I basically beg you to do whatever you can.
34 years since his daughter's disappearance, Roger Cutler is still searching for answers. He was the first witness called in the coronial inquest investigating her suspected death, describing his daughter as a good kid. The inquest was told that since her disappearance, her family has been plagued by mystery callers claiming to have information about her whereabouts. Those tips have never panned out. The inquest heard a renewed investigation in 2018 identified a total of 48 people who could have been involved in her disappearance. 5 of those had died and 44 were still considered suspects. Claremont serial killer Bradley Edwards was originally one of them, but police had later ruled him out. After the 2018 cold case review, investigators concluded Miss Cutler was likely to have died and that there were 2 possible causes: homicide or suicide. Her family believes it was murder. This inquest is hoping to answer that one way or the other. Tabara Koljarud, ABC News.
And okay, the answers need to be forthcoming one way or the other, and of course many times it takes a long time to get down to the real news. Well, before we go to our daily India report, let's take a look at this breaking news out of Pakistan. And that scene there is from the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, being sought, and then the security guards quickly moves him out of the scene there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to go to our daily India report. And with that, let's welcome Ankita.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you reports, interviews, features and more on India and the Indian diaspora. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that New India is growing rapidly as it focuses on bold reforms, big infrastructure and best talent.
Prime Minister Modi has said that the New India is focusing on bold reforms, big infrastructure and best talent, and despite global uncertainties, India is growing rapidly. Delivering inaugural address at the 3-day Global Investors Meet, Invest Karnataka 2022 via video conferencing, he said at this time of global economic uncertainty, the whole world is confident that the Indian economy's fundamentals are strong. The Prime Minister said that Karnataka has the power of a double engine with the same party in the government at both the state and centre. Modi said that when we speak about talent and technology, the first name that comes to mind is Brand Bengaluru. Besides Governor Thawarchand Gehlot and Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, those who were present at the inaugural function included Union Ministers Nirmala Sitharaman, Piyush Goyal, Prahlad Joshi and Rajiv Chandrasekhar. This edition of the Global Investors Meet is being held under the theme Build for the World, reflecting on the role Karnataka aims to play in the global supply chain. The key topics to be addressed during the event will revolve around the sub-themes of innovation, sustainability, equity and resilience.
Amid reports of China building new military infrastructure on its side, India is looking to upgrade its airfield in the Ladakh region.
India is soon going to begin the construction work for upgrading its Neoma advanced landing ground for fighter aircraft operations less than 50 km from the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh, Army officials said today. The Neoma airfield has been used to transport soldiers and supplies during the ongoing standoff with China and has seen operations of Chinook heavy lift helicopters and C-130J transport aircraft. The advanced landing ground has got most of the required clearances and approvals and work will begin soon. As per plans, the construction of the new airfield and the military infrastructure would be done by the Border Roads Organization. The capability of operating fighter aircraft from this region would strengthen the Indian Air Force's ability to tackle any misadventures by India's enemies in a faster way. The construction work will be inaugurated soon after the Union government gives the clearance. India has been considering multiple options for developing airfields in eastern Ladakh, including Daulat Begoldi, Phukche and Neoma, which are just a few minutes away from the LAC. The Neoma Advanced Landing Ground has seen operations of the Apache attack helicopters, Chinook heavy lift helicopters and the Garud Special Forces from the Mi-17 helicopters. The IAF has deployed the Igla man-portable air defense missiles to tackle any aerial incursion. The Air Force has been regularly deploying fighter aircraft including the Rafale and MiG-29S to carry out operations in eastern Ladakh.
Tata Sons has acquired the remaining shares of AirAsia as it gets wholly amalgamated into Air India.
Malaysian multinational low-cost airline AirAsia has now been completely amalgamated into Air India. AirAsia Aviation Group sold its remaining stake in the carrier to Tata Sons. The development comes at a time when a merger of Air India and Vistara is also being discussed. Tata Sons had acquired the debt-ridden Air India from the Indian government before initiating its revival. The latest agreement comes as AirAsia returns to the sky stronger than ever since the pandemic, which allowed the airline to re-examine its strategic objectives to focus on ASEAN, given its strong network and significant presence in the region. To date, AirAsia has flown more than 171,000 flights in January 2022, carrying over 23 million passengers across the globe. Group CEO of AirAsia Aviation Group, Bo Lingam, said, quote, "Since 2014, when we first commenced operation in India, AirAsia has built a great business in India, which is one of the world's biggest civil aviation markets in the world. We have had a great experience working with India's leading Tata Group. This is not the end of our relationship, but the beginning of a new one as we explore new and exciting opportunities to collaborate and enhance our synergies moving forward," end quote. He added that COVID had allowed the carrier to re-examine our priorities, and it was felt that it was best suited for AirAsia to develop an ASEAN-only business with 4 great airlines in Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia and the Philippines with a much-loved brand and presence. With the reopening of Malaysia's international borders in April 2022, AirAsia Malaysia has reinstated its flight connectivity to key destinations in India and more from Malaysia, offering guests from both countries attractive deals and promotions.
North India will have a warmer November than before as the onset of winter is delayed.
India may have to wait a bit longer for winter as India Meteorological Department forecasts above normal night temperatures for most parts of the country in November. India Meteorological Department said minimum temperatures were expected to be above normal during November over most parts of the country. Large parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are also likely to experience above normal day temperatures, virtually ruling out cold wave conditions during the month. There could be cloudy conditions in the region as minimum temperatures are likely to be above normal. This would mean that cold wave conditions were less likely during November. In North India, the indication of winter starts from mid-November when minimum temperatures drop gradually to settle below 15 degrees Celsius and nights turn chilly. According to the long-range forecast for rainfall and temperature for November, South Peninsular India was likely to experience above normal rainfall during the month as northeast monsoon showers were set to drench the region. The long-period average rainfall for South Peninsular India for November is 118.7 mm with an error margin of 23%. The northeast monsoon set in over Tamil Nadu and adjoining areas on October 29th, almost a fortnight later than the normal onset date of October 15th.
India climbed to the top of the group table with a thrilling win over Bangladesh in a rain-hit match in ICC T20 World Cup 2022.
The Indian cricket team led by Rohit Sharma held their nerves to secure a 5-run win over Bangladesh in a rain-marred last-over thriller at Adelaide Oval on November 2nd. The win strengthened their hopes for qualifying for the semi-final of the ICC T20 World Cup. Asked to bat first, India got off to a bad start as skipper Rohit Sharma got out cheaply, only scoring 2 runs off 7 balls. His opening partner KL Rahul played a confident knock of 50 runs. But it was Virat Kohli again who continued his eternal love affair with Adelaide and scored yet another half-century to help India post a competitive 184 for the loss of 6 wickets in 20 overs. He remained unbeaten on 64, forming crucial partnerships of 67 runs with Rahul and 38 with Suryakumar Yadav. Bangladesh got off to a brilliant start in the 185-run chase as opener Liton Das took the attack on Indian pacers and hit a quick-fire 21-ball 50 before the rain started pouring down after the 7th over of the chase. Bangladesh was 17 runs ahead of the Duckworth-Lewis turn par score at the 7th over mark with a score on 66 for a loss of no wickets. However, the match resumed with only 4 overs lost and Bangladesh was set a target of 151 in 16 overs. India finally got their maiden breakthrough as a direct hit from KL Rahul ended Liton Das's 60-run knock. From there on, India kept taking wickets at the crucial points to come down to the last over where Bangladesh needed 20 runs off 6 balls. Arshdeep Singh turned the hero for the men in blue as he defended 20 runs in the last over to deny Bangladesh a historic win in Adelaide. With the win, India climbed to the top spot of the Group 2 table with one more match to play against Zimbabwe.
Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan has released the teaser of his upcoming film Pathaan on his birthday.
3 साल से उसकी कोई खबर नहीं है। अपने लास्ट मिशन में वो पकड़ा गया। सुना है बहुत टॉर्चर किया उसे। पता नहीं कि पठान मर गया है या जिंदा है।
Bollywood's King Khan Shah Rukh Khan will be returning to the big screen next year with his movie Pathaan co-starring Deepika Padukone. On the occasion of his birthday, the Bollywood Badshah greeted his fans with a teaser of his much-awaited film. Taking to his social media account, the superstar posted the video and wrote, "Apni kursi ki peti bandh lijiye, #Pathaan teaser out now. Celebrate #Pathaan with #YRF50 only at a big screen near you on 25th January 2023. Releasing in Hindi, Tamil and Telugu at Deepika Padukone, at John Ibrahim, #Siddharth Anand, at YRF. In the teaser video, the actor pulls in a few deadly punches as he fights goons. The actor plays a spy who undergoes a risky mission and is thought to be dead, only to come back and have a face-off with the villain played by John Abraham. The film revolves around a raw agent, codenamed Pathan, who takes on an ominous villain who is hell-bent on ripping apart India's security apparatus. For the film, Shah Rukh Khan underwent a massive transformation to portray the titular role. Helmed by Siddharth Anand, the film also stars Deepika Padukone and John Abraham and is all set to hit the theatres on January 25, 2023 in Hindi, Tamil and Telugu. The movie, which also has a cameo from Salman Khan, is backed by Yash Raj Films.
अपनी कुर्सी की पेटी बांध लो, मौसम बिगड़ने वाला है।
Kajal Agarwal has released the teaser of her own film, Tamil horror comedy Ghosty.
The horror comedy genre has been one of the favorites of Tamil cinema before the pandemic. But during the pandemic years, few movies were made in this genre and producers moved to crime thrillers and romantic stories. A new horror comedy titled Ghosty is likely to change the trend. The teaser of Ghosty was launched by Kajal Agarwal, who is the lead actress in the movie. She tweeted, "Here is full-on entertainment, more teaser of #Ghosty starring at I Yogi Babu and me. Perfect for Halloween, isn't it?" The Ghosty teaser introduces us to the main plot of the movie, which involves two identical looking women. One is a high-ranking cop and the other is a famous actor, both played by Kajal Agarwal. While the teaser doesn't fully tell the story, it does gives us a glimpse of the antics of the supernatural entity. A mysterious ghost is on the loose in the region and it's wreaking havoc on the life of the cops. The main source of humor stems from the ghost's multitude of pranks, which involves making grown-ups speak in the voice of a toddler. Ghosty is written and directed by Kalyan, who earlier helmed films like Gulai Bagavali and Jackpot. The movie also stars K.S. Ravi Kumar, Redin Kingsley, Thangadurai, Jagan, Orvasi, Sathyan, Adukalam Naren, Manubala, Mota Rajendran, Maila Sami, Saminathan, Devadarshini and Suresh Menon.
That's all for this bulletin of the Daily India Report.
And thank you very much for that update, Ankita. That was our Daily India Report on this Friday, the 4th of November 2022. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we finish up for today, let's take a look at all the functions and events taking place right here in Brisbane. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have time for you on this Friday, the 4th of November 2022. 23 degrees and sunny in Brisbane, looking gorgeous out there. We know the temperature, even though it says 23 degrees, but if you're out there, it is still got a bit of a chill in the air, and people have, gone back to the jackets once again, out and about. Well, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget that tomorrow we'll have the doctor's program, Aapki Sehat, coming at 10, and the normal news at 9 o'clock. And we have an action-packed weekend. So there's so much happening right here in Brisbane, as you could see from those upcoming functions and events that we just displayed then. So, have fun, enjoy the weekend, go to as many functions as you can, but always exercise care. Be it on the road, be it at the function, always be attention, pay attention, and try and remain safe. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.